Okay, so this Civil War movie from A24. The thing about it, well, first off, I'm excited, okay, because this director, Alex Garland, he's great. A24, obviously fantastic. But, more importantly, I personally have just been obsessed with this idea of American secession and independent republics within America for kind of like my entire adult life since the second Bush administration, probably. And I've actually been so obsessed that I've already created my own story universe where that happens. The United States splits into 10 different nations. I created this world like 15 years ago. It's called Ununited, the Ununited States of America. And I wrote this as a screenplay. I've tried it a couple different times as a book, as a limited TV series. I even tried it as a game. I'll talk about all that stuff in a second because my idea, Ununited, it is the same general topic as Civil War, but it's very different and unique. And needless to say, the idea of a story based on American states seceding from the Union, that's nothing new. I mean, we have Harry Turtledove's whole series about the Civil War being won by the Confederates. We have his book, The Disunited States. We have the Man in the High Castle series. This is alternate history. This is a genre. This is not a new idea. And of course, there's the idea of the original Civil War, So yeah, Alex Garland didn't invent this idea of states seceding or a civil war. It's obviously already in the zeitgeist. I am really curious to see, though, how he executes this. But okay, here's the thing about this map. So yeah, the conspiracy bros are all like, oh, it's a warning, it's a secret message from the Hollywood elite of what's going to happen. And I'm just like, bro, spend 10 minutes in Hollywood with Hollywood people. They are just not smart enough to be part of some grand conspiracy. Nobody can keep a secret there. It's not going to happen. So that's not what's going on here. People are also up in arms about, so to speak, about the politics of this movie. Specifically, that Texas and California are both seceding, I guess, together. The idea being that, are you serious? These two states, Texas and California, would never in a million years want anything to do with each other, would never be on the same side against a president or a federal government of either the Democratic or the Republican Party, right? Which is obviously true if we're taking it from the perspective of actual modern-day politics. But then this guy makes this post, which I very much agree with. It's very accurate. He brings in the actual map that he's hunted down from the movie, and it shows it in more detail. And it actually shows that what we're dealing with in the movie Civil War is a couple of different seceding unions, the Western and the Southern. Okay, well, this starts to make some more sense here. One could imagine if maybe the federal government itself was very weak, like it shut down or something, then maybe, yeah, these two huge, robust economies of Texas and California, they could kind of strike off on their own, and maybe the states around them might want to join up. One could conceive that as a story possibility. But no, because in Civil War, we're told that the federal government is still very strong. There's a third-term president played by Nick Offerman, I think. So I don't know. That's not really what's going on here. My problem with what I've seen of the Civil War movie, and again, we shouldn't be making any judgment until the movie actually comes out, which is not until April 26th. But my problem is not that Texas and California could be on the same side. I mean, in Texas, you look at this, and yeah, they've got a bunch of the old Confederacy states aligned with them, so that tracks. On the California side, you have Washington, you have Oregon joining up with them, fine. You have Idaho, Montana, Utah, Wyoming. These are the reddest states in the nation. You have them willingly joining up with California? So that makes no sense. But then where it really starts to derail for me is in this so-called loyalist territory. So I guess in the world of the movie, this is the areas that still support the federal government and the President of the United States. And you're telling me that California has left. Okay, I buy it. Texas has left. Okay, maybe I can squint and believe that they both have left. But the states that haven't left are the New England states, New York, and, the Lakeland, Rust Belt states, all of which are, fairly democratic. But also the heartland, like Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Kentucky, whatever. Are you serious? What possible world would West Virginia and Vermont want to be in the same union if all the other states were already seceding. So that doesn't make any sense. So all of this really just brings me to my point. And my point is this. This movie, Civil War, this is not going to be an accurate representation of American politics as they actually are or will ever be, you know? It's either going to be an alternate history or it's going to be an alternate reality, which is to say something happened many years ago that changed politics as we know it. And so maybe this story might have some alt history lore that's really, really great. Like, for instance, Watchmen does, you know, where they explain, here's how Robert Redford became president and here's how Vietnam became a state and so forth. It could be that, or it could be just a whiff. Now, what is a whiff in movie terms? Well, this is when movies or shows just kind of either give you a whiff of what it's going to be or just whiff it, whatever meaning of the word you decide you like better. And they just say, pretend America is like this. Pretend in Madam President a woman got elected. Or pretend in House of Cards that Kevin Spacey is this all-powerful Democrat from South Carolina. Okay. Just take the poetic license and run with it. Just take the flavor of America, and not the details. That's what a whiff means. And honestly, if you look at Alex Garland's work, which is fantastic, it's mostly like sci-fi, fantasy, speculative, non-reality work, right? Like 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, Devs. I mean, given that he's a Brit also, coming into the US, he's got an outsider's perspective to begin with. And given that he himself says, quote, it's set at an indeterminate point in the future, just far enough ahead for me to add a conceit, serves as a sci-fi allegory for our currently polarized predicament. Guys, I think this movie is just a whiff. It is poetic license. It's just sci-fi, guys. It's just the flavor of American politics. It's not going to be the accurate details. So, conspiracy fellas, relax. Okay? People who are deeply interested in alternate history and alternate politics, sadly, you two can also relax, I think, because this is just not going to be a movie that actually dives that deep. But if you're interested in a detailed and nuanced take on how the United States of America could actually split, could actually ununite,